Woo! Yay! It looks super cute, super cool. Oh. Oh, it wants me to play as a different character. I don't have another controller, girl. Can I face a computer, please? Single player. Practice. Hi, Pisser. Oh, let me fix that. Thanks, Fisher, for doing that on purpose. Definitely helping me. This is Soulcalibur 3. This is gonna be our first game in our fighting game collection series.
Ivy. Battle. Fight. Battle. Fight.
Battle Boss Kiana, please. Yeah, but this is for the PS2. This is a retro game.
Battle. Fight.
But yeah, we're gonna be playing fighting games a lot. And this is gonna be our cute little UI we have for it. I'm super excited, super happy with it.
Battle. Fight.
I know there's like inputs, but I'm so bad at the inputs in these games. Well, Soulcalibur especially, because it's like 3D and 2D.
Battle. Fight.
I know she can taunt. How do you taunt? This is Soulcalibur 3.
Battle. Fight.
This game had good character creation too. I remember being like, this is the one. This is the one. It also had a really good story mode.
To the new stage of history.
I know. I love the PS2. My fave. I have a cut on my ankle. My ankle go click. So each character has a unique story. So the roster we have right now is Zasa Lamel. He is hot. Like 10 out of 10 would take it from him. Cassandra's a classic. She is like one of the staples, I would say. Besides, is Sophitia in this? I don't think she is. Taki, if she is not in the new Soulcalibur game, when the new Soulcalibur game comes out, we will fight. She is literally iconic. Boobies, everything. Mitsugurigi, I always pronounce his name wrong, but he's hot too. Like, look at him, titties out, like super hot. Like, I love the scruff. Siegfried is the Soulcalibur like rep. Like, he is the one. Nightmare, scary, final boss. Ivy, icon. She is the girl boss, mother, gilf, legend. Invented boobs, invented being hot. She's iconic. I love her. She is so iconic. Astaroth. Oh, why does he look like that? Astaroth. I guess I'm used to his version in another game. Voldo. Voldo is an icon. He gets so much hate, but like, honestly, he's every game he's in, I'm like, so funny, so iconic. Like, I love his, like, he's so unique. I love how unique he is. Unique! Tira is my girl, my fave. I'm a Tira main. When she was DLC in 5, I was so mad, but I was so glad she was in. This is probably my favorite Tira design. I love the green and the blue and how she looks like very like earthy. I loved this version of her. She's probably my favorite besides the alternate costume in 5. And I love her. Her chakram, the dance blade, is one of my favorite weapons invented ever. Like, I love her. Setsuka, I remember, oh my god, she is queen. I was doing like a practice battle with her. So iconic. She's not in a lot of games though, which is interesting. Raphael, he's an icon in these games. He kind of looks a little botched right there. His eyes look a little too far apart. Talim, literally she is that girl. Love her wind powers. Her fighting style is super unique too, super cute. Love her. I think this is one of my favorite designs of her as well. In the other games, I'm not really that much of a fan, but I like that of her. No idea who this man is. No idea who this woman is. Are they brother and sister? Who are they? Maxi. Oh my god. Him in the later games. Oh my god. He makes my pussy throb. She's an icon. I don't know how to pronounce her name. Xinghua. I'm gonna assume. But she looks gorgeous in this game. Look how gorgeous she looks. Oh no. I was still going. Oh. Oh, look what I've done. Look what I've done. No, we go back.
Soulcalibur, welcome to the new stage of history.
Keelik is right here. Keelik is hot. That's my man. He's fine. Are you playing? I don't know what that is. I would never use that, and you shouldn't even say that in the chat or mention that to streamers. I'm playing this on my authentic PS2. So we're gonna start with Tira's story. Tira's story in this is iconic to me. I always remember playing it as a kid and I was like, oh my god, she killed a kid. Because she does. Since she was too young to remember, Tira had lived the life of an assassin in the European Assassins Organization known as the Birds of Passage. During the chaos caused by the evil seed rained down, she was set free into the world outside Oh, I read that the wrong way. Unable to grow accustomed to ordinary lifestyle, she drifted away land to land, siphoning the lives of others. One day, she learned the rumors of Nightmare, her heart filled with excitement, finding another like herself. Tira pursued rumors and finally made contact. She was willing to give herself completely to him. As a servant of the cursed sword, she had two duties: to release the soul edge and the quest of a new body. Tira sought out for the world of the wings of the black feathers. So she's looking for a new body because soul edge drains her life force. Tira traveled the world looking for those who could make an appropriate vessel for the cursed sword. There was a warrior woman who had once shattered the soul edge and later had her children. When she shattered the cursed sword and taken a fragment into her new body, her children had been born with the evil energy infused into their bodies. Tira visited Greece in order to get near those children.
Her desire to save her children from darkness drives her to battle.
You'll be dead before you know it. I'm ready to fight you.
Versus Sophitia. Fight!
Oh, you have to unlock Sophitia. That's a little interesting. Oh, let's not do that. Oh, not me about to lose. Oh, not too much.
You lose.
May the gods
9.
watch over you.
Don't look at me.
You'll be dead before you know
Yeah, it's a little blurry.
it. I don't want to fight.
Versus Sophitia. Fight!
Me spamming the same move. Oh, okay. Whoa!
You lose. 9.
I must. You'll be.
Versus
Okay.
Sophitia. Fight!
Not her clocking me. I keep hitting that button that's like a combo button. Stop doing inputs. Just fight, girl. Hi, online. Why is she... Tira, please. She's like doing these weird inputs.
9.
Girl, I'm getting gagged.
Versus Sophitia. Fight!
Stop, Tira! Did you see this like wind up move she's doing? Like, stop.
Dead before.
Versus Sophitia. Fight!
Okay, we did it. We finally did it.
You win.
You deserve the most painful death imaginable.
Tira toyed with the mother of the prospective host bodies. Oh, prospective. Wait, whatever. If they continue to fight, it would surely turn serious. Tira didn't expect them to lose, but it would be stupid to take on unnecessary injuries. This woman had once shattered the soul edge, and it would be best to be careful. Claiming her excited body, she moved on to her next objective. Since the hosts have been found, hurry the freeing of the soul edge. The children are still young, search for other hosts. We're to search for other hosts. The siblings' bodies were a perfect fit, but unfortunately they were too young. She couldn't shake the feeling that it wouldn't fully draw out the power of the sword. Tira decided that an interim body was necessary and continued to wander in search of potential hosts. She traveled to an arena where strong warriors would gather and waited until the day's winner was decided. Was this man powerful enough to be worthy of the sword?
Watched over by the Almighty Ones, they unleash their fury.
You'll be dead before you know it.
never yield to the likes of you.
Oh, oldie.
Versus dragon. Fight.
Oh, he's just a created character. This isn't even a character. This is just like a literally random person made for the story. Okay.
You lose.
You picked up wrong person.
Shut up.
You'll be
Versus dragon. Fight.
Oh, I hit it. Oh, I didn't know he was gonna follow up. Wanna die? Gagged.
You win.
You deserve the most painful death imaginable.
What a waste of time. The man had been worthless. Tira had left the arena and set her eyes on what has been wandering in search of the soul edge. Obviously wouldn't be appropriate for the sword, but anyone who was successfully closing in on the sword had at least some potential. Tira waited at the Ostenburg Castle. Nightmare, the wielder of the soul edge, had dwelt here. Okay, Queen.
Here she comes! To abandon your children and travel all this way.
I like the little cutscene. Very cute.
You're such a horrible mother. She...
Oh,
It is because I am a mother that I raise my sword to protect my children.
Versus Sophitia. Fight.
she's mother. Like, she's canonically mother. Work, Diva. All right, let's not ring out me.
You lose. 9.
You...
Versus Sophitia. Fight. You win.
With a mother like her, I feel terrible for her children.
Oh, Tira, please. Not her clocking. The warrior who appeared was the mother of those two children. It seemed the skills that had once enabled her to shatter the soul edge had not been wand, but she was no match for Tira. Tira let loose. Let loose the impulses which lurked within her and sat herself in the battle. She was now bored of playing with the woman. Staying in this place any longer seemed like a waste of time and unlikely for anyone worthy that would appear. Pursue Siegfried in order to release the soul edge, or first increase the soul edge powers. Siegfried was the man who had sealed the soul edge by piercing it with the spirit sword. Even now, he had carried the sword in hiding. In order to free the soul edge, she had to find him. While Tira was searching for him, she learned that the target apparently had taken interest in a tomb of a wealthy merchant. The clues were made it clear of where he was headed. Tira raced through the night and hopes to arrive before him.
Two heroes finally meet under the
This is my first time reading this. I've literally never read this out loud.
You'll be dead before you know it.
A futile effort.
Oh, this is a random guide too.
Versus Thief. Fight.
Oh, I have to fight 3 of them? Girl. We're about to get it good. Oh! Oh! He just perfected me!
You lose. 9.
You want...
I swear I'm not that bad at fighting games. I'm just warming up to this. miss? Oh my god!
I told you.
9
You'll be
versus Thief. Fight.
This is Soulcalibur 3. Yeah, no, who's getting perfected
You
now?
win.
You just... Please get out of my way.
Versus Thief. Fight.
Wanna die? Wanna die?
Girl, back it up. Not the imp. You can back it up, please, ma'am. Thank God. Oh my God, my health, girl.
You deserve the most.
Does it carry over to the next battle? Please say psych.
Voldo. Fight.
Love Voldo. King. Oh. Please tell me I restart on the Voldo fight.
You'll be dead before you know it.
I have no.
Oh, shit. We're gonna be here a while. Oh, Jesus Christ.
9 versus Thief. Fight.
How did he dodge? Get a job. He's spamming.
You lose.
Amazing.
9 versus Thief.
Can I play on an easier difficulty? I don't think the story has a difficulty, it's just hard. Oh, gagged.
You win.
All right, let's...
Versus Thief. Fight.
No, what's up, bitch? What's up? I don't care. I'm spamming the same move for you. I need to get to Voldo, girl. You are not the fight here. This is not your moment, baby. Oh, I love his jockstrap. He's actually really hot. I'm sorry.
Voldo. Fight.
I literally DJAF. I'm literally about to get perfected.
You lose. 9
I like that he's like unserious, but his character design is like badass.
Fight.
I don't like when I press forward sometimes it like makes me do a move.
Ring out. You lose. 9 versus Thief. Fight.
Cause like honestly in these games like you want to do like quarter circle front and back, but like this game doesn't want you to.
You win.
This is gonna be...
Versus Thief. Fight.
Girl, get real.
Did I do it?
Can you get serious?
You win.
You
We're gonna be here for so long.
Fight.
I'm never gonna beat this fight. Ah!
You lose.
Oh, his ass out too. Hey, sir.
9
you
versus Thief. Fight.
Can we restart? That is so cheap. I'm leaving. I'm leaving. I'm leaving. I'm leaving. Just kill me. You're a piece of shit.
You lose. 9 versus Thief. Fight.
Girl, be real. Stop spamming me. Like, what is your issue?
You lose. 9 versus Thief. Fight.
I don't think there is upgrading, girl.
You lose. 9
I'm getting gagged.
versus Thief. Fight.
Tira, stop. It's because Tira has like a stance thing. Like she can, like she's not like the other fighters.
You win.
Cause she's like a dancer character.
Versus Thief. Fight.
Stop. She keeps doing the fucking move and it's like making me vulnerable to abilities.
Versus Thief. Fight.
Like, stop. Even right there, like, why did you do that? Stop.
You win. Versus Thief. Fight. You win. Versus Voldo. Fight.
We finally did it. I just have to spam that move.
you deserve the most painful death imaginable.
Tira defeated the Guardian of the Tomb and waited for her next target to arrive, but he did not appear. She decided that perhaps he had changed his destination, and she left the hole. Oh? Tira once again set out for gathering information about Siegfried, but she had difficulty finding any signs of him. Where had he gone? Just then, a man appeared who had claimed to know where Siegfried's whereabouts are. Oh, this is a quick time. Oh, not the game glitching.
I cannot allow a monster like you to possess that sword.
Dodged it!
I will not allow you to get in my way. Let's go!
That was ridiculous. What are you doing?
versus Zasalamel. Fight!
Fuck.
You lose. 9. Versus Zasalamel. Fight!
Girl!
You lose. 9. Versus Zasalamel. Fight!
Hi, Lib. Fuck.
You lose. 9. Versus Zasalamel. Fight!
Okay, get him. Stop. I keep forgetting you can guard. Okay, we got him. We got him, girl. We got him.
You deserve the most painful death imaginable.
Tira remembered that the man who revived in the form of Nightmare, the small amount of evil energy that escaped the seal, the man with the scythe was surely that man. She had felt impressive power from his soul, and she needed to harvest it at some point, devouring the soul that it would surely bring great strength to her master, the Soul Edge. Stream's been good. We're doing our fun. We're gonna start doing fighting games like every week. So this is our first version. This is Soulcalibur for the PS2, Soulcalibur 3. I've just been really a big fan of fighting games, and I've been really wanting to bring them to the channel. So while wandering the Middle East in search of Siegfried's trail, Tira heard rumors of a city that had been destroyed in the fragment of the Soul Edge. If her target had this information as well, he would surely head there. When Tira entered the ruined city, she noticed that she could feel evil energy of this land.
The winds guide her with visions of the heavens.
Oh, is Talim here? No, she said evil energy.
Dead before you know it. Something
It is Talim! Why did she sense evil energy? Talim's like a sweetie.
Fight!
Oh, I gagged her. Oops, sorry, girl.
You win!
You deserve the most painful death imaginable.
Oh, no evil energy. Work. I'm not wearing my glasses, clearly. It seemed that the woman who attacked her had learned of the art of purifying evil energy. The lack of evil energy in this land must have been doing her well. Oh, must have been doing her. Tira successfully eliminating an obstacle for her master. Something strange, however, has been happening to her body. She became exhausted. Her strength would not recover. The image of the man with the scythe flashed the back of her mind. I place a curse upon you, and that is what he said before he left. If she located the man with the scythe and put an end to his life, that would surely break the curse. But he was no fool. It was difficult to even find any clues about him, and it was clear at this rate her life would run out fast. In order to slow the progress of the curse, even by a little, she sought out places with evil thick energy. By bathing the evil energy and revitalizing her body, she would be able to resist the curse somewhat.
Her quest to save her brethren drives her onward.
You'll be dead before you know it. I will never lose.
Versus Song Mina. Fight!
Girl, please.
You lose. 9.
You'll be
Versus Son Mina. Fight.
That was so unnecessary. Okay.
You lose. 9. Versus Son Mina. Fight.
Girl, please.
You'll be
Versus Son Mina. Fight.
Hello, Curtis. Oh, I taunted. I don't know if that's the time I wanted to learn how to taunt, but I did it. Tira. Okay. I was literally stop doing your little inputs and kill her.
You deserve the most painful.
Her boobs. Her boobs are boobing. She had to hurry with the revival of the Soul Edge. She had a duty that was more important than her life. Tira traveled the world in search of Sigurd's trail. Perhaps the obsession had paid off. For her successfully locating her target, when she continued her pursuit and arrived in Japan, a man appeared before her who claimed to sought revenge for his men that she had killed. Tira didn't have any time to bother with this man, but kept reappearing before her. He was starting to get annoying.
A man veiled in mystery appears.
Thank you, Curtis.
You'll be dead before you know it.
Oh my god, Yoshimitsu!
Versus Yoshimitsu.
I forgot about him. He's iconic. He just hit me with one attack and it almost killed me. Okay.
You lose. 9. Versus Yoshimitsu. Fight.
Well, have you seen... Did you see in the old Soulcalibur games, they did collabs with like, Link was in a Soulcalibur game. They did a Star Wars collab that Yoda was in.
Yoshimitsu. Fight.
That's how they kind of sold these games, by doing collab characters and putting them on the box art. Yep, Geralt's in the new one. I think that's 6 or 5.
You deserve the most painful death imaginable.
After eliminating the annoyance, she had once again searched her surroundings for any sign of the target's presence. It seemed that Siegfried had already left this land. This was making her angry, but she knew the feeling was the feeling of his presence now. She would not lose him again, and she was worried about the curse. Would her body last? I just love Tira. I love her story. I love the like stories in this game, especially. I don't know. There was something about like Tira literally dying and having to inherit the body of a child. Like, was so dark to me as a kid. I was like, oh my god, this is scary. And then Ivy's story, being a mother. Like, I love her. I gotta pee really fast. I'll be 2 seconds. Lava ASMR. There's also bad endings in this. The time of Soul Edge's release was close, but in order to accomplish that, she had to put an end to Siegfried. If it weren't for the curse, she had been... Well, she's dying.
Now two souls are fiercely entangled.
You'll be dead before you know it.
I'm itching for a fight.
Versus foot soldier. Fight.
What? Hi Key, thank you so much for resubscribing. 7 months.
You deserve the most painful death imaginable.
Come at me with all your might.
The wig.
General. Fight.
Get him, Tira, get him. Who cares about this no name?
You deserve the most painful death imaginable.
Tracked him down to a cathedral. When she entered the cathedral, she sensed that the Azure Knight, being the one who contained the Soul Edge, had come here and hurried through the well. She went through the corridor, heard the sound of striking steel, and a fight has begun. This is iconic. So hot.
If you're after the sword, don't expect to get past here alive. Sorry to keep you. You're up next. Versus Siegfried. Fight.
Oh, please. Ah. He broke my guard.
You lose. Never again will I bend to anyone's will. 9, 8, 7, 6.
You'll be dead before.
Versus Siegfried. Fight.
What I used to do as a kid, I used to bait them towards the edge of the map so I could ring them out. Over here! Come over here! Come near the edge! It was worth a shot.
You lose. Never again will I bend to anyone's will. 9, 8.
You'll be dead before you know it.
Versus Siegfried. Fight.
Oh! Oh, don't ring out me right here. Can you stop spamming me?
You lose. 9. Never.
He's hot in this game, Siegfried.
Dead.
Versus Siegfried. Fight.
Kind of looks like Ezreal from League. But like buff. Okay. Felt that was very unkind.
You lose. 9.
You
versus Siegfried. Fight.
No, I didn't want to do that. No, I didn't want to do that either. No, please. No. Not fair.
You lose. 9.
God, I hate that all of my favorite characters have the worst play styles.
You lose. Never again. Versus Siegfried.
I'll get it one day. It's all about the fight.
You lose. 9. Versus Siegfried. Fight.
Oh, thank God. I mean, he has a second phase, so it doesn't really matter.
cannot even cease to exist on your own. Such a
Oh, they cut her off. They cut her mic. Ooh, cutscene.
I'm impressed that you made it this far. Not bad at all. My dream is about to be realized. You, however, are not worthy of witnessing this glorious moment. Leave this place at once.
I missed.
bastard! You will pay for this!
Versus Abyss. Fight.
Oh my God. Oh!
You lose. 9.
I'll make
Versus Abyss. Fight.
Well, I also missed the quick time and you lose health, but if you just restart the fight, you get full health. Oh! Oh my!
You lose.
This is absurd. I shall break
9.
I'll make sure
Versus Abyss. Fight. You lose. 9.
I'll make
Versus Abyss. Fight.
We might be here a minute.
Versus Abyss. Fight. Ring out.
The way he just kicked me off the map, he said, "Get out of here."
Versus Abyss. Fight. versus Abyss. Fight.
Yeah, I'll show you an abyss. My cooch. Sorry. Okay.
You lose. 9 versus Abyss. Fight.
Okay. Okay.
You lose. 9 versus Abyss. Fight. You lose. 9
Tira.
Fight.
Oh my god, Pibby. Hi, Pib. Do I just spam this until I win? It worked!
You win.
You cannot even see.
Thank you so much for the raid, Pib. Anybody coming in? I'm Nemesis. I run the network around here. I do streams 4 to 5 times a week, and we're starting our fighting game collection where we play all the 2D and 3D fighting games of all time. This is our first one, and we're doing Soulcalibur 3 for first. But welcome in. Oh, this is her end cutscene. This is when she kills a child. This is where she kills
and find a new body.
a child and inhabits the body of a child. When I saw this as a kid, I was like, what? I was gagged. I thought this was so scary when I was a kid. I was like, oh my god, I'm gonna be sleeping in my room and Tira's gonna come in and kill me. Oh, you don't even get to pick. Oh, I got the good ending.
What's your name? Hey, what's that thing you're holding, miss?
Do you like it? Oh, I'm glad.
Oh!
The legend will never die.
Literally. Her bad ending is that she'll go into the other room. You saw the 2 doors. She'll go into the other door and there won't be a kid there. And then there's like somebody there to arrest her. And she's like, oh my god, it jumps out the window. It's kind of funny. Thank you guys so much for coming though. And thank you for subscribing, Pib. Love you so much. What did you do today? Okay, we got Sophia and Yoshimitsu. We're unlocking a lot of things. Ba-da-da-dum-dum, ba-da-da-dum-dum.
Welcome to the new
Work.
stage of history.
Let's do Ivy's story now. Oh, she's missing her face. Okay. Ivy returned to Valentine Mansion to investigate the cause of the abnormality in her sword that had developed during her journey to eliminate all traces of the Soul Edge. In academical research laboratories at her home, she read through the ancient texts she had brought up in her aid to research. A particular tome containing extremely detailed information of the cursed sword caught her attention. As she deciphered it, she arrived at a passage recording the existence of the spirit sword in the Soulcalibur. Supposedly, the sword would suppress the powers of the cursed sword and lend the wielder of the power against it. But the days Ivy had spent lost in thought were suddenly interrupted by the presence of an intruder in her mansion. Looking towards the door, she saw a man wielding a giant scythe. Okay. Not a good reader, but, you know. The man was tall, cloaked, and... Oh, also, if you don't know, the Soul Edge in this game, because it's Soulcalibur, Soul Edge, it's like what everybody wants, because it's like a powerful weapon, but it also drives you crazy if you have it, so...
With his eternal life, what plans had immortality wrought?
Let me see. Who wants to die first?
I think her design in this game and in the newest game are my favorite. I love when she wears nothing. She just looks boobies out.
This is the end. This is the end. Time to pay off. This is the end. Time to pay off. This is the end. Time to pay off. Extend. This is the end.
Whoo!
You didn't even have time to feel remorse.
She's one of the most iconic characters, I think. She's like amazing. This is a sin from my past and the world and the world has no need for this now. The man now stood at a distance and the book in his hands was engulfed in flames. The flame quickly moved to the mansion itself. If they weren't stopped, the mansion would burn down. If you wish to know all of what it is to know about the two swords, pursue the knight with the great sword, of whom you may know so well. The man vanished into flames, leaving Ivy behind. The mysterious man knew everything, relying on the intrusive feeling. Ivy set off on a journey that would revolve around the Soul Edge and Soulcalibur. The man that had been draped in powerful magic. For Ivy, she had also been stained in her hands with black magic. It was not impossible for her to trace that hidden power. Pursuing and skillfully hiding the trail, she had arrived at the burning mansion.
Watched over by the Almighty Ones, they unleash their fury.
Let me see. Who wants to die
Please.
first?
Why does the...
Revenant, fight.
Oh, it's because I'm just like far away. I'm like, why does the font look different on Twitch? I'm also... Oh. Is this a created character or an actual character? Gagged. Don't guard. Notice how much easier it is to play Ivy. Tira revolves around her stance change and her dancing and doing inputs that are like impossible to land for somebody like me, but she is my favorite character, but it's unfortunate that her playstyle is ass. Oop, we're already at the clock tower. This is the halfway point. Everybody always ends up here in the story.
I cannot allow anyone who knows about the sword to live. It's time for you to die.
We gotta test out the character creator. Dodges.
You're quicker than I thought. I was wrong about you.
What do I care what you think of me? Get lost.
Get lost.
Fight.
Listen, I didn't say the game was perfect. Thank you for the raid, Pip. Okay, he just perfected me.
You lose. 9
It's fine.
versus Zasalamel. Fight.
What is the grab? I want to figure out what the grab is.
You lose. 9
Let me.
versus Zasalamel. Fight.
Hello?
You lose. 9
Girl, chill.
versus Zasalamel. Fight. Ring out.
I knew that was gonna happen. I literally knew.
Versus Zasalamel. Fight.
This is the end.
You lose. 9
Girl.
Let me.
versus Zasalamel. Fight.
This is the end. This is the end. This is the end. Time to pay off. Time to pay off. This is the end.
Don't you dare.
You lose.
Of that sword.
9
Let.
versus Zasalamel. Fight.
This is the end. Time to pay off. Time to pay off. This is the end. Time to pay off. This is the end. This is the end. Split apart. Sewer. Time to pay off. This is the end.
Whoo! Possum and Ray, thank you for the follows.
Even have time to feel remorse.
Daughter of the Cursed Sword, do you persist in struggling against your fate, your conviction of leaving only his laugh behind? The man's scythe melted away. Investigate the Cursed Sword and the spirit, investigate the man with the scythe. To the spirit, the sword. Over-caffeinated paranoia, thank you so much for the follow. She knew particularly nothing about the spirit sword, Soulcalibur, but she at least knew to be the sword. Ivy traveled to Greece.
A light of hope.
I don't know why this map is glitched, but
Let me.
it just is.
Sophitia. Fight.
Or Sophitia. Her home being glitched.
This is the end.
It's like foggy.
This is the end. This is the end. Extend. Time to pay off. Time to pay off. Time to pay off. This is the end.
I didn't know like Sophitia is like a direct reference to like Greek mythology, and like
Versus Sophitia. Fight.
I never like put two and two together. She's literally like wearing the Party City costume of like,
This is the end. Extend.
I'm going to Greece.
Time to pay off. This is the end. Time to pay off. Extend. Extend. This is the end. Time to pay off. This is the end.
You win.
You're such a crybaby.
You're such a crybaby. The old gods told her nothing. She obtained nothing in Greece. According to the book, the spirit of the evil sword appeared in the past in response to the cursed sword growing powerful and violent. Ivy headed for Eastern Europe. So like, what are we using to travel?
Foolish of you to anger me.
Oh, titties out. I love it. Oh, I thought he had no pants on. I was like, that's
Let us
hot.
Celebrate your demise. It looks like I will have to destroy you. Versus Raphael. Fight.
This is the end.
Hi, Soy.
This is the end. This is the end.
I'm dying.
This is the end. Time to pay off. This is the end. Time to pay off. This is the end. This is the end.
Damn it.
You lose. 9
Let.
versus Raphael. Fight.
Time to pay off. This is the end. Time to pay off.
I love Taki's design in this. Just the red bodysuit and titties.
This is the end. Time to pay off. This is the end. Extend. This is the end. Time to pay off. Extend. This is the end. Extend. Time to pay off.
Why is he dodging everything?
This is the end. This is the end.
Thank you, Lib, for coming. Miss you, love you. Hope you're doing good. Head for the sea, head for the land. I'm gonna go to the sea. Giving up on her quest in Europe, Ivy headed to India, where she became aware of a rumor about a pack of monsters that appeared.
He pursues a demon.
What did you what happened in Tekken?
Who wants to die first?
You really want to do this?
Oh, he's so fine. Oh my god, his titties are tittying. Please ruin me. This map is gorgeous. Fuck.
You lose. 9. Versus Maxi. Fight.
When is Tekken coming out? Because they're releasing a lot of characters.
Oh, man.
They're probably planning for a summer release. Like Street Fighter. I don't know about a brand new character for Tekken 8. Which is interesting that you mentioned that.
You lose.
I wonder if they would. I mean, they definitely had to. Wasn't Lucky Chloe new in 7?
You lose.
Stay down.
9. Versus Maxi. Fight.
This is the end. This is the end. This is the end. This is the end.
You lose. 9. Versus Maxi. Fight.
Why am I struggling so much with this fight? It's because he's so fast. He's also dodging everything. Damn it.
You lose. 9. Versus Maxi. Fight.
This is the end. This is the end. Time to pay off. This is the end. Extend. Time to pay off. This is the end. Time to pay off. This is the end. Time to pay dollars.
It missed.
You lose. 9. Versus Maxi. Fight.
This is the end. Time to pay off. This is the end. Time to pay off.
Damn it.
You lose.
Literally.
You won't get a second chance.
9. 8.
Let me see. Who wants to die first?
You really think
Oh, she looks
you can
good.
keep up with me?
I'm glad she's in.
Maxi. Fight.
Can this guy, like, literally... I'm about to do the old strat. Like, let's go towards the edge.
You lose.
Like that?
9
Let
versus Maxi. Fight.
this is the end. This is the end. This is the end.
Stop! Oh my god, he does so much damage.
This is the end.
What is happening?
You lose. 9
Let
versus Maxi. Fight.
time to pay off. This is the end. Extend. Time to pay off. This is the end. Time to pay off. This is the end. Extend. This is the end. Time to pay off. This is the end. This is the end. Time to pay off. This is the
He's gonna edge me!
You lose. 9
Let
versus Maxi. Fight.
time to pay off. Extend. See ya.
You heard me. I'd let him.
This is the end. This is the end. Time to pay off. This is the end. This is the end.
You lose. 9
Let me
versus Maxi. Fight.
This is the end. This is the end. Time to pay off. This is the end. This is the end. This is the end.
You lose. 9
Let
versus Maxi. Fight.
time to pay off. This is the end. Time to pay off. This is the end. Time to pay off. Time to pay dollars.
Fuck.
This is the end.
It's because this game, it's like, these are the 2D, 3D fighters I'm not really good at. I just admire them from afar. The 2D fighters I'm really good at because, like, the 2D fighters are inputs. This are like, it's like weirdly gimmicky. Like, I don't understand any of these. I'm used to like quarter circle back and like a fight stick, like arcade.
Time to pay off.
Never speak to me ever again. Ivy obtained the information about the location of Kyoto. Radiated demonic energy. She traveled to the capital of Japan.
Her shadow moves with stealth and disappears into darkness.
In the later games, they get better about it, but this one is just really hard.
Fight.
Oh, Queen.
Time to pay off. This is the end.
Oh, she just broke my guard.
This is the end. This is the end. This is the end. Time to pay off. This is the end. This is the end.
Fuck. I was so close.
You lose. 9. Versus Taki. Fight.
This is the end.
This is the end.
Ivy, come
You
on.
lose.
Oh, not that error.
Versus Taki. Fight.
What was the thing in SpongeBob 2?
You lose.
That's all. You make
9.
it. Let me
You played the Street Fighter demo. How did you find it? I thought it was good. I'm excited for when the game fully releases though, because there was like locked behind certain characters. My only problem is that I don't like that you can play on the new control scheme of like playing with less inputs, but it punishes you because if you use that, you do less damage, which is ridiculous. Because people like me can't do a bunch of combos and shouldn't be punished for just using what the game implies. A little dab will do ya. This is the end. A little dab will do ya. Am I supposed to be feeding you?
To appease the winds, the priestess rises to the challenge.
I thought we already fart. We already fart.
Who wants to die?
This is the end.
Some things can only be conveyed through battle.
Or bangs appearing and disappearing. Real. Oh. Okay. Oh, not too much. Not too much. Not too much. Tell him. Not too much. Not too much. What did I say? Oh, bye, bitch.
You win.
You didn't even have time to feel remorse.
A little dab will do ya. Who the fuck is that? Why is he walking like that?
Soul to me, my child.
Mark my words, I will destroy you.
Versus Cervantes. Fight.
Oh, it's Cervantes. I didn't even recognize him. Gay pirate man. Oh, my cock. I mean, what? My girl cock, excuse me. I feel like Ivy would have a girl cock. That'd be so iconic. Okay. Oh, I did it! First try.
You win.
Almost finished. There's only a few things left.
Cervantes. Cervantes. Ah! I missed. It took a few moments to break through the bars blocking the way. The sharp sounds grew even fiercer. As Ivy hurried, the sound of the death scream echoed in her ears. It seemed that the battle was over. What awaited her up ahead? The night. The great night. Or was it a nightmare?
The time is ripe. You shall become part of me. You are my first sacrifice.
Versus Nightmare. Fight.
This is the... Oh! Oh! Fuck!
You lose. 9. Versus Nightmare. Fight.
It is, but in the final boss, it transforms into the weapon you have, so it like changes its form. Why are you trying to edge me, mister? Okay. He's not playing. No, 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 no. Oh, fuck me. He took me to Suplex City. That's a WWE reference. Oh! Oh my god. A little dab will do ya. I could use a little dab. Oh. Okay.
You lose. 9 versus Nightmare. Fight.
Well, considering this is a very early version of Soulcalibur, there's not a lot of variety in the moves, considering you hear Ivy say this is the end every 2 seconds. But in later games, it gets better. No, it wasn't squeaky clean. It was sticky sweet. Please, please no. Please brush up on your knowledge of the SpongeBob video game lore. Okay.
You lose. 9
Sticky sweet.
versus Nightmare. Fight.
I love that Curtis and Maddie just come to chat and fall asleep
You
after 2
lose.
seconds.
9 versus Nightmare. Fight.
How do I do a grab? I haven't been able to do one. Okay, you can back it up, sir.
You lose. 9 versus Nightmare. Fight.
But is it the end? I'm not sure. It's gonna be my end in about a second. Oh, fuck me in the ass. No, I was so close.
You lose. 9
Penis.
versus Nightmare. Fight.
This is the... Oh. She got gagged. Oh. Oh no, I almost edged him. What, her repeating the same voice line? Because it's camp. What do you mean? How did it make the final version? It's camp. But is it the end? This is the end. This is the... Not too much on Mother now. Who's the kick? And it's not like you don't say some things 6 times in a row without stopping. I know you're in your bedroom saying, let loose, let loose. Come on, get loose. This is the end. Fuck! Sorry.
You lose. 9 versus Nightmare. Fight.
not fair. I'll tell you, it's not. We're gonna be here a while.
You lose. 9 versus Nightmare. Fight.
I agree. Can you stop spamming the same move over and over again? I would never do such a thing.
You lose. 9 versus Nightmare. Fight.
Okay.
This is the time to pay.
You lose.
Oh God.
Versus Nightmare. Fight.
Okay, come over here. We're gonna edge you.
You lose. Now. 9 versus Nightmare. Fight. You lose. 9 versus Nightmare. Fight.
He can be. There's no one you can't edge. You can edge anyone if you just believe. Okay. Ah, did you see me jump over his sword? That was kind of camp.
9 versus Nightmare. Fight.
Oh, I almost just got gagged. Oh, that's so not fair. I was literally about to do it. Oh, yes!
You win.
You didn't even have time to feel remorse.
My master plan came together.
I'm impressed that you made it this far. Not bad at all. My dream is about to be realized. You, however, are not worthy of witnessing this glorious moment. Leave this place at once.
He's hot. Oh, I dodged it.
I swear on my blade, I will destroy you.
Versus Abyss. Fight.
This is the end. This is the end. This is the end.
Fuck!
You lose. 9 versus Abyss. Fight.
I'll show you an abyss. Okay. Wait, I already said that earlier. Okay.
You lose. 9 versus Abyss. Fight.
And when we do the edge strat here, what happens?
Bring out. You lose. 9 versus Abyss. Fight.
You know what? It's worth it because this is what's gonna happen. Okay, I don't think we were supposed to switch positions. Switching the positions for you.
You lose. 9 versus Abyss. Fight.
This is the end.
I don't like that little sucking off ability he does. Yes.
You win.
You didn't even have time.
We ate. We ate. And look at how we ate that. Hopefully we don't get the bad ending, because that was bad. Oh.
Who are you? What are you doing?
Huh?
Stop it! I don't want that! Stop! No! So there's no way for me to do this?
I wasn't expecting that. Wait, who was that?
The legend will never die.
Why did she have a clone? It was probably Cervantes doing.
Welcome to the new stage of history.
Let's try. Oh, it's not what I wanted. Let's try the character creation. A barbarian, a monk, a thief, or a dancer. Oh, there's more. There's a saint, a ninja. I'm gonna do a saint because I love God. Can I look at the model? Like, why are we so zoomed in? There we go. Oh, Faye. Oh, the bob. Yes, Bob. Take the hat off, girl. Ooh, we have no hairstyles. We have to go buy them. Oh my god, this is so nostalgic. I remember using some of these hairstyles. I used to use this one for like, and I would color the hair so the two side ponytails would not look like one, so it would look like one ponytail. And then this one with my hair down. This is so funny. Character customization back in the day, guys. Oh my god. Oh. Why does it keep zooming in? Girl, it's not that serious. Stop. I have to spam the button so she can zoom out. Wait, she doesn't even have toes. She just has... Look at it. They're just blocks. That's funny. Look at the face. Let's get the face card. Oh, that one was botched. Can I not change the eyebrows? Oh, wow.
Come on, come and get me. You are not worthy to.
This reminds me of my younger days.
Fierce. Let's make a sexy grandma. Wait, that top is fierce. I remember I used to use this bolero all the time. What pissed me off the most is that, like, when you were buying new items from the store, you could never, like, preview the items from the store. Okay, thong. Why is it changing the hair color with it? Guys, be serious. Wait, sexy grandma goes to Soulcalibur town. What do you mean this name isn't allowed? It's not like we're going online. She's kind of mother. Wait, so like, what do I do? Can I play as her? Oh, what happened to her face?
Versus Revenant.
Okay, wait, that kind of eats. I don't know. Whoa. Oh, wait, why did she eat? Oh, extending her penis.
Battle. Fight.
She kind of thick. Can you like not? Hold on. Oh, I didn't even know this is how you change their costume. I want to see all their alternate costumes for a second. I never knew that, even growing up. Oh! Why did their faces disappear? Stop! Oh, Ivy eats this veil? Okay, mother. Okay, mother. Okay, the veil. Gorgeous gowns. sexy. I don't care. Voldo is sexy. Oh, this is, oh!
Let madness take you.
Helen is so cute. See, this is the Yoshimitsu I know, is this mask. His squid mask I was so shocked at. See, this is the Cervantes I know too, the pirate. I was shocked at. Who are these other characters, I wonder? Not what I wanted to hit. You can buy stuff. How do I go buy?
Welcome to my store.
I remember being obsessed with her,
Help you find something?
and I was like, I want to be her. See, you could never look at the stuff before you bought it. It made me so mad when I was a kid. I was like, excuse me, let me look at it. You had to like buy all this stuff. I was like, girl, you had to buy blush. I was like, please, be serious. Wait, there is an item display. Okay, well, I guess you could, and I never knew as a kid. Well, that's annoying. Tattoo tears.
Can I help you find something? Farewell, good luck.
Thank you so much. I want to know who else is on the roster. Ow, my God. This choker. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Let me look it up. Soulcalibur 3 full roster. Oh, so you can play as the owl guy. There's no other women. And that's why I never unlocked any of the characters. But this game is a classic. Who are your faves? Voldo and Tira are two of my favorites, and then Ivy, of course. But I do like Talon. And I love Sophitia just because, like, she's the face of the franchise. Well, she doesn't have a face anymore in this, but... Why does it keep glitching like that? Like, stop.
Soulcalibur 3.
I would say a very successful first one of these fighting game streams. She's the teeth, yes. Ow. I think I'm gonna change into like a t-shirt and stream Fortnite for the rest of the night. They need to announce it. I'm gonna be playing creative game modes, so like if anybody wants to join, you can.